In 2015, there was an initiative to improve the payment system in the U.S. with faster, certainly retail payments. And the Federal Reserve acted as the kind of coordinator of industry discussions of how to do that. And we were really encouraging the private sector to take this on and do it. And the largest banks did take up that challenge, and they built what's called the Real-Time Payments Network from the largest banks in the U.S. The problem we heard was a lot of the smaller banks were kind of worried about belonging to this network run by the largest banks. And so they wanted another network. Now, my response typically would be, well, then you go build one. The big banks built theirs, you go build yours. But when you're sitting there with, say, 8,900 banks who all now have to coordinate and somehow figure out how to build their own real-time payment or fast payment network, it's a massive coordination problem. And they all looked at us and said, well, we're already connected to you for payments. Why don't you just build it for the rest of us? So I often view creating FedNow as a solution to a large market failure in the sense that we could not get 8,900 banks to coordinate and build their own system. It's just a market failure problem. So we started building the FedNow system, and we finally launched it last year, and we have about 1,000 banks that have now signed up. But as I said, there's roughly 9,000 banks. This is a long process to get all of these banks hooked up. So if UPI would somehow connect to FedNow and you want to send a payment from the US to India or vice versa, most of the banks in the US are not connected. The payment's going to go nowhere. So that's what I mean. We have to take time to build out our network before we seriously think that it's going to be of value to every other fast payment network in the US. And that'll just take some time, but we're hoping to get there in the next few years.